Hello everyone, I'm Saddest Robot and I'm doing my first ever Pauper YouTube video. Never done any recording before, so let me know if you guys like what you see. I play almost exclusively Pauper, so that's what we'll be seeing today, and I play mostly my own builds. And I've had some success with them. This is one I built earlier today. It's almost mono green, not quite mono green. Pauper, Pauper deck, Pauper tokens deck. It's splashing blue for shared discovery, which is you can draw 3 cards by tapping a bunch of your guys for 1 blue. Pretty sweet card. And Distant Melody. Of course, Pauper played in a bunch of decks. It's not my deck isn't quite as type committed as some decks that play it are, but you can usually still draw like 5 cards off it after a couple Sprout Swarms. So let's find the game. Alright, here we are. I found an opponent, and I won the die roll, so I'd love to play first. This hand is not great, but we'll keep it. See what happens. We've got, I guess, turn 1, Colony Garden, into turn 2, other stuff, probably an Essence Warden. But we'll see what's happening. The Evolving Wilds is super awkward, because you want to use your Evolving Wilds to fetch for an island so you can play your draw spell. But I might just go with a forest here. Hard to say. I sort of need the other green source, but maybe not. We'll see. Taking a little while to play here. Not sure what's... Okay, there we go. Let's see what he's playing. I'm so excited. Something white. Step links. Interesting. Looks like we got a landfall brew. Could be fun. I always love playing against a brew. That's actually... I'm in the Just for Fun area now, just because... I don't know. I mean, most of the decks I make are competitive, but they're not good enough to be, competing with super competitive players. And I also like just seeing the interesting things people do with with whatever they can think of. And with the step links, it could be doing something pretty neat. I've got my own landfall build that I didn't think was very good. Maybe he's got something cooler that he's doing. Let's find out. Ugh, F6. I mean, it's a little annoying that he's playing pretty slowly. He must be double queuing or something. Play my land. I'm going to go ahead and get the island just because I wasn't going to be doing 2 things next turn anyway, unless I draw something, in which case I'll feel silly. But, you live and you learn. Alright. Let's see. Well, F6. Ugh, you got a F6, man. It's a little annoying that he's not doing that. It makes it difficult for me to have things to say. I mean, I guess I'll just tell you a little bit more about the deck. We're running, I mean, you've probably seen the idea already. We're going to make a ton of tokens with things like Scatter the Seeds, and then hopefully get one of these guys into play, use one of these. It's a little awkward that I do 3 of my 4 big win condition spells, but there you go. These are sort of the win conditions: Magnify, Magnify, Might of the Masses get in there and be, just the big final punch. So hopefully we'll get there. But right now our hand isn't looking great. I mean, Young Wolf will be able to keep the step links home, but not really clear at this point. I mean, obviously if he hits a landfall, then he can't anymore, which is the only reason to be attacking in the first place, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. But we'll see. And he's playing really slow. He's already run off 3 minutes of his clock. I haven't run off 1. I generally, do my best to be polite on, I'll never say anything mean to a player on Magic Online. That's super shitty to do. You just shouldn't. Oh, Journey's my guy. Slightly annoying. Alright, you got it. But yeah, you shouldn't say mean things on Magic the Gathering. If they're playing slowly, they're being shitty, but you shouldn't reciprocate. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna run out Young Wolf, I guess. No reason to attack with the plant. But there you go, we got our Young Wolf. If he hits his land, he can still get in with the step links. Would I block with the wolf? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Skyfisher. Maybe he is some sort of kitty build. Bounces a plains, replays it, I assume. Yeah. Maybe does he have a 1-drop to make himself look really good? Let's find out. No, he doesn't, at least not yet. He attacks. There's no... So I'm happy to block here. I mean, I don't really know why. I think you could go either way on it. I can't attack back because he's got the Skyfisher, which is mildly annoying. I mean, I could use the Might of the Masses just to kill his guy. Shared Discovery looking really, really awful right now. Maybe I just do that because I have to do something, right? Because not doing anything feels bad. There's a good chance he doesn't block. I mean, this is like a really obviously something's up attack, but sometimes they think you're bluffing and call you out, or think you made a mistake and try to catch you on it. That's what he's debating right now. Or it could be he's just playing slow again. But that's what I would be debating if I were in his position. Like, this obviously looks like a trick. But, I mean, maybe he might also just be willing to trade his core Skyfisher for a trick. If I were in his position, would I block? No, I would not block in this position. But we sort of get him, not really. I mean, we kill a Skyfisher, which is fine. Not really a big deal. We really do need that third land. I mean, that's the sign of the Wild is looking pretty awkward. I mean, if we did land it here, it wouldn't even be that amazing. It would be a 3/3 for 3, which is fine, but not ridiculous. He plays Rest for the Weary. That seems not great. No attacks. Happy to see that. Chatter of the Squirrel. That's a fine draw. Happy to get in there with the wolf. No blocks. Yeah. Make a squirrel. And pass the turn. What's he got? And then he's got a land. Oh, so he can double. Got the Evolving Wilds. He can double pump his step links, which is nice. Good little interaction. Let's see if he has a second color, if he's just playing those for the value of the interaction with the step links. I'm not going to block. I mean, I could block with the plant token, but it's potentially valuable because it makes my Scion bigger, and it as a potential Convoke thing for my Sprout Swarm and for Scatter the Seeds if I ever draw it, and for Share Discovery. So even though it would save me 4 life, this is probably, oh look, he's playing red. Okay, so he's probably on like a Boros Kitty type thing, and he just has been missing red mana, which makes more sense. Well, that's the awkwardest thing that has ever been. On the plus side, we do get to just make another squirrel token, and then next turn we can start doing shared discovery if he doesn't kill one of our guys. So I guess it's a good thing that I went and got the island with that fetch, because we haven't really been missing the forest yet, or at least the second green source. Not too badly, anyway. There was never a play that I wanted to make but couldn't because we had an island instead of a forest. What does he have? Sky Knight Legionnaire. Spicy. Alright, not a lot we can do about that. So he's going to get in there for 2. That is acceptable. Yep, you got it. Alright, well now we got a forest, which makes me sort of want to cast Scion instead of Shared Discovery, just because, I mean, it means we can attack this turn. It means he can't get in with the step links next turn. It'll be a 5/5. That seems like good things. Next turn, when we cast a Shared Discovery, we'll still have a creature available to us, instead of having to tap all our creatures down. But playing a 5/5 for 3 feels reasonably good. I mean, he could just journey it, but the fact that he never journeyed our Young Wolf makes me think he doesn't have it. Obviously, he could draw it, and then I'd feel silly. I mean, he's got 6 cards in hand. He must have something, right? And he just got his red source, so I'll rest for the Weary again without a landfall trigger, so that seems pretty weak. I wouldn't be playing that. He lightning bolts my face. Alright, so we are starting to get a little short on land. He's going to get in there with Sky Knight Legionnaire. Sweet card. I don't think I've ever actually seen that played in Pauper before, but it's a sweet card. Props to him for playing it. I'd love to draw an Essence Warden. Scatter the Seeds, not a bad draw though. Let's see, how does this work out? Can we scatter the seeds and share discovery in the same turn? Let's think. If we go scatter for green, green, and 3, then now put 3 guys in play, and then we can share it for everybody by the Scion. That seems legitimate. Alright, let's do that. Okay, and now we will cast Shared Discovery. And we haven't played a land, right? Yeah. Play Essence Warden. You can just see that. And I think I get in there with the Scion. We have to put him under some amount of pressure, right? I don't know, this could be a bad decision, but if he makes his step link's enormous, we can just chuck the Essence Warden in front of it, which would make me a little bit sad, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. But he's going to get in for 2 no matter what with the Sky Knight. And then if he has a bolt, that makes 5, which makes me need to kill him next turn, which we probably can with the 2 magnifies, especially given these at 11. But we'll find out. Let's see. He's probably doing some amount of math in his head. He knows he has to chunk. Oh, he concedes. Excellent. I don't think he needed to concede there. I think he still had a fighting chance. Well, at least as far as he knew, still had a fighting chance. But all right, so here is my sideboard. Let's see. What do we want? Does Hornet Sting look good against anything? Kind of. I mean, it kills Step Links pretty well. Do we want any of these other things? I mean, Sundering Growth to kill a Journey could be fine, but I mean, I don't think that matters. Gloomwidow's Feast is not great here. Yeah, I think we bring in the 2 Hornet Stings and cut a couple of cut a couple of Chatters, I guess. No, cut a couple of Acorn Harvests. I don't know. I mean, all these cards in this deck are super interchangeable. Sometimes it's hard to know what to cut. But, okay, I'm ready for game 2. This hand is good. I am into this hand. So we will absolutely keep. Let's see what he does. He would mold to 6. We will not mold to 6. Molds to 4. Okay. Well, molds to 4, so not a terribly stiff challenge. Mold to 5, not 4. Still, that puts us in pretty great shape. Yeah. Young Wolf off the top. It's a fine draw. Essence Warden. I mean, yeah, you may or may not have noticed my computer tends to lag a little bit. I am playing, I mean, it's also just Magic Online being not great, but I'm playing this on a MacBook Air through Parallels, which is slow. Slowest thing in town, pretty much. But, I mean, it works out. It's not the worst. For the most part, it's okay. Sometimes it's laggy. He is continuing to just play really slow. Like, you're not activating anything on our... We have no eligible creatures, and you have no mana. So, click through, crack your Terramorphic. We know what you want to do. Get probably a Plains. Maybe a Mountain, I guess. We'll find out. Ugh. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'll definitely, if people seem to enjoy it, I'll make some more vids. I play almost exclusively Pauper, but I do play a little bit of Momir. Notice the avatar. Momir is a super weird format that very few people on Magic Online are playing. Oh, I got him out. Look at that. Yeah, very few people on Magic Online play it. I think it's a great thing. Ceradon Yearling. Never seen that before. It's a neat little card. I like it. So he's just playing like white-red creatures that are good. That's fine, I guess. I can feel that. I don't think it's necessarily a great deck, but I can appreciate the spirit of it. The spirit of Boros stuff. And that looks, I mean, reasonably fine on this board. Like, I'm not going to be able to get in. I mean, on the other hand, I'm going to gain enough life every turn that it's not terribly relevant. But he, I mean, you know, he still has to try to do something. And we're up to 21. Next turn we can play the Scion of the Wilds, which will be a lot bigger than the Yearling. Let's see what he's got. Did he have a Bolt for the Essence Warden? No, Burst Lightning. Yeah, I mean, he had to have something. He couldn't let me have my Essence Warden indefinitely. He gets in there, yeah. I think I'll block just to make my Young Wolf big enough to tussle. Yep. Comes back. And we get a chatter. I don't care about that right now because I am absolutely going to slam. I'm not going to attack because I don't want to trade right now because he makes my Scion a 3-3, which is a lot bigger than the Yearling. I mean, he could just bolt it. It's a little awkward that it's not a 4-4 right now. But, I mean, he could also just plated Geopede. Okay, another landfall guy. So he's got clearly some sort of landfall-y build. But, I don't know. It's like a Boros aggro B team. Alright. So I'll play this. Crack it for certainly a blue. Now what do I want to do? I can make him a 4-4, but that's only at sorcery speed, so I'll do it pre-combat. I can sting his guy. I'm definitely just going to go ahead and sting his guy so he can't block with it. If he wants to block, he has to block with the Ceradon. Then I'll make a squirrel, make my guy 4-4, and pound some face with Scion. He takes it, that's fine. Getting next turn, if I don't draw anything, I'll be able to start Sprout Swarming, which is great. I could take it, he concedes. Alright, well, this has been fun. Maybe I'll, yeah, no, I'm going to play another one because that was fairly short. And you didn't really get to see what the deck could do. So I'll be back just as soon as we get another game. We got an opponent, Skeksis. I think I've played against him before. I don't remember what he was playing, but I guess we'll find out shortly. He won the die roll. He will probably play first this hand. It's fine. We should be able to get up to scatter the seeds relatively quickly. We would like to keep this hand. It's all the same with you. Let's see what he's got. Blossoming Sands. Alright, some sort of green-white thing. Maybe some sort of auras build. We'll find out. Play the Young Wolf first, just because it's better than the Scatter Seeds by better than the Shadow Squirrel, rather, by a significant amount. But we'll see what he's got. Turn 2. Mulling it over, seeing what he wants to do. No. I mean, one of the things about this deck is that it's super uninteractive. There's not a lot I can really do in response. Naya Panorama. Interesting. I'm sure I've played against him. I don't remember what he's on, though. I mean, you remember it when somebody plays something like a Naya Panorama because you never see it played. Abundant Growth Set. Okay. So now that can tap for actual mana. Well, it could tap for a colorless before, but now it can tap for realsies mana. And plays Bogle, so he's on some sort of budget hexproof list, I guess. Pretty happy to offer the trade here if he wants. I imagine there's absolutely no way he's going to want to, but if he wants to, if he's into that sort of thing, certainly won't object. Yeah, he does not block. Come squirrels. Another squirrel. And next turn, definitely we are going to scatter assorted seeds. Or I guess we could spider silk, but scattered seeds seems better. But we'll see. Almost tap something. Probably going to play some sort of aura. Let's see. Rancor, yep. If he attacks, do I block with Squirrel? Interesting question. Well, now I certainly don't. Those Ethereal Armor gets very frightening very quick. He absolutely cannot block that. So that's trample now, and first strike. And is a giant. I mean, Hexproof Auras is a very powerful archetype, and that it's an archetype that my deck isn't very well situated to beat, just because there's not a whole lot my deck can do against it, except try to race it. I mean, my deck can race once it gets going, but he is just way ahead of us in terms of getting going right now. I mean, we're getting in for 1 here. And, I mean, I guess if we could survive a couple turns, drew like Magnify or something, Magnify or Might of the Masses, then we could consider trying to race, but right now we're just not in great shape. Cracks of Falling Wilds. Let's see what he's got. He's probably going to make this guy bigger somehow. And if he can make this guy any bigger, he's got me on 2 turns. And I only got 1 turn to try to figure out how to not die. Probably. Let's see. If he goes another Ethereal Armor, that would be pretty bad. Yep. 11 points of damage. So yeah, he's got me dead next turn. Not really anything I can do about it. No sense in blocking. Yeah, I'm just super dead. And another Ethereal Armor. Okay, so we just sort of had the nut draw for him. This Ironwood. Let's see. If I play Spider Silk Armor, that makes my creatures big enough to still lose next turn. Alright. Yeah, we're just going to concede. Go to sideboards. Let's see what we got for sideboarding. Multani's Decree seems fine. Ambush Viper seems acceptable. Do we want Sundering Growth? Probably. Druid's Deliverance. Buys me a turn. Do we want to buy a turn? Probably not. I don't know if that card is good enough to be in the sideboard. Might just not be very good. We definitely want the Essence Wardens in. Could be that a lot of our card draw is just not good enough. Yeah, I mean, certainly peel most of it. It's just too clunky for this matchup. We need to be kind of quick. Vines we probably don't need. We're not trying to protect our guys from anything. Alright, this seems better. Brought in the Ambush Vipers just because they can get in and kill his guys. The closest thing we get to a removal spell in this deck. This hand is not great, but we've got the Ambush Vipers, which go a long way to making sure we don't die. Or, well, they don't do a lot. I mean, they don't help us against trample. Well, I mean, they kill the guy, but they don't stop any damage. They're really bad against Ethereal Armor, just because that gives their guys first strike, so Death Touch on 1 toughness creature isn't terribly helpful. But we'll see. I'm comfortable playing out one of the Ambush Vipers here, just because we always have the other one if we want to leave it back, if we want to leave it up rather. So I will end of turn the Ambush Viper this turn, one of the Ambush Vipers this turn, so we can start getting in there, because we do have to if we want to brace. Plays Bogle, that's fine. Plays the Ethereal Armor, that's a disaster. Well, now we can't get in there with the Ambush Viper, but we can play Spider Silk Armor. You know what we could have done is left up 3 mana, cast, then left up Ambush Viper plus Magnify. But then it's sort of like, I don't know, we're 2 for 1ing ourselves to kill this guy, which isn't terribly exciting. But I don't know. If we do this next turn, we're in slightly better shape to make that play, I guess, because our guys have higher toughness. I don't know if it makes a difference. I haven't done the math. See, I mean, it's kind of hard now that I'm actually doing this to think through my decisions and explain them at the same time. I tend to either do one or the other. Like, I'm either thinking about what I'm doing and not saying it, or saying what I'm not doing and not really explaining anything. Not going to block. And he must not have any auras that he can play. He would have played them pre-combat, I would think. Maybe he's got a Ledgewalker. Fair enough. Luckily I can block that, which is nice. Let's see, Chatter the Squirrel is fine. I think I'll run that out, but first get in with the Viper. Problem with Magnify as a combat trick is that it makes their guys bigger too. So it doesn't, you don't net any toughness unless you're blocking with 2 guys to their 1, in which case you only net 1 point of toughness, which isn't great. But we will do it if that's what it takes. Well, okay, now that I think about it, I didn't actually leave up that particular thing by attacking with the Ambush Viper. He is certainly not going to attack with the Ledgewalker into this board. At least I would be astonished if he did. Let's see what he's got. Rancor, maybe? Yep, Rancor. Still probably not going to attack unless he's got an Ethereal Armor. Explorer's Scope. Okay. That's fine. I don't really know what that's doing in this deck, but there you go. I don't know, kind of cool, I guess. It's sort of like a reverse Goblin Guide. Equips it to... Really? Equips it to the Ledgewalker. I probably would have... I mean, I guess that means he plans to attack with it. Definitely happy to block with the Squirrel here. Yep. Block with the Squirrel. Maybe that means he has a trick that I'm walking into. Oh, he should be. Does Reach not work on Silhana Ledgewalker? That seems funny. Yeah, I mean, I guess. Alright. Alright, I guess I'm not blocked. No, that worked that way. Take 6, a little bit lame. What's he got now? Another Bogle guy. Forced Adaptation. Okay, so his thing is going to get bigger. I'll play the Viper just because I can. And we're pretty far away from being able to block either of his guys successfully, so it's not really a lot of point in trying. Leave back, because I mean we can still chump block them. I mean we can chump block at least the this guy, the Bogle. We can't chump block the Ledge Walker. So I'll leave the plant back, I guess. Acorn Harvest, get me 2 guys. So we can start thinking about magnifying at some point, but it's not lethal right now. If we get a magnify or a Might of the Masses off the top, then maybe we can think about doing lethal. How much do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7 on the board right now. Magnify would deal an additional 6, which is not quite lethal. Yep. Take. So we need another pump spell off the top in order to think about being lethal. Because otherwise we're just dead. Predatory Hunger, that doesn't matter because it's already going to kill us next turn. Might of the Masses, alright. Sometimes you get lucky and draw the cards that make you win. Alright. Computer's getting a little lag-tastic here. But let's see. No blocks. Magnify. Yep. And we'll play Might on, probably doesn't matter, I doubt he has any instant speed removal. We'll play it on the Call Me token, because that way if he instant speed kills it, he has to use a removal on the token, and he is super dead. Yep, he's at -4. Okay, so as you can see, our deck can be pretty explosive when it wants to be. I mean, we just did 19 damage in a turn in a game that looked like it was totally out of hand. So the deck can win out of situations like that. But on the other hand, it doesn't have a lot of ways to protect itself from his deck. I mean, we brought in the Ambush Viper there, and they look totally dumb. I mean, as removal spells, I mean, they're not removal spells, they're creatures, and when you try to use them like removal spells, they end up looking awkward, but you're in green, so you just sort of have to accept that your removal spells aren't going to look great. So that's what happens sometimes. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of how we're doing, of how the show is doing, if the audio sounds okay. I mean, the audio is going to sound like crap because I'm recording it from these miserable headphone earbuds. Is this hand keepable? Let's see. I'm going to turn 1 Colony Garden, turn 2. Well, we're looking at a turn 3 Scatter the Seeds, which is not the worst. Isn't great. I think we'll keep it and not be happy about it. It's better than a Mold to 6. Maybe, or maybe not. What did he just do? No, he played okay. Yeah, definitely getting pretty laggy, probably because of recording software. My computer definitely struggles when doing more than one thing at once. But, yeah. Does he have an aura? Gotta assume he does. We haven't seen Armadillo Cloak out of him. Maybe he doesn't have it. Maybe it's just sort of a budgeted list. Didn't want to shell out for it. How expensive is that card? I don't know. All my decks are super budget. Like, this deck probably costs like 30 tickets to build. I mean, almost nothing I build costs more than 5. It's in there. Nope. No reason to block that. he off his land drop, or just not feel like playing it pre-combat? No, he's got a land. Okay. And Acorn Harvest, that's fine. Play the Colony token. Get a little guy. Make a squirrel. And if he attacks, will I block? Probably. I guess I'm happy to trade a squirrel token for a Glade Cover Scout, even if it means taking 2 life. He probably has an annoying ethereal armor, which will make me feel sad. But let's see. Mulling something over. Let's see what he's gonna do. Green, another Glade Cover Scout, which makes me less excited about blocking the first Glade Cover Scout. Forced Adaptation. I don't know how I feel about that card. Seems like just worse than a lot of stuff. Maybe it's okay. No attacks, that's fine. Essence Warden, alright. Well, we can play the Essence Warden and the Scattered Siege, which is lovely. Pretty psyched about that. On the plus side, if we ever get to 4 mana, we have the Multani's Degree. And just in general, we have the Sundering Growth. And if anything ever gets like really dreadful, we can just growth it. Although it's awkward to spend a card to use the Sundering Growth, and we know that eventually we'll hopefully get to kill it along with everything else with the Decree. But we certainly will do it if there's anything really scary. Abundant Growth, yep. Feels weird playing the Blossoming Sands in a deck that's basically a hexproof deck where you usually only play forests. Alright, goes for Forced Adaptation. No attacks. End step. Scatter the Seeds. So, I mean, I feel like in that deck you're usually just sort of relying on your Abundant Growths and your Utopia Sprawls, but he's probably not playing Utopia Sprawl just because it costs like a ticket or two, and he's obviously playing some sort of budget list. So I guess that's why you play the for realsies white sources. Distant Melody looking not the best here. Do I want to play the Young Wolf, or do I want to Sundering Growth? I think I want a Sundering Growth, the Forced Adaptation, just to keep the guy from getting too pesky. Yeah, that feels okay. Still get a 2-for-1 off the Decree if we ever manage to choose a creature to copy. I'll copy a Sapperling. You want to copy your Sapperlings because for Distant Melody, they're ultimately, you want to choose Sapperling because that's what your deck makes the most of. You can make a fair few of other stuff as well. I mean, like, we'll make a decent number of squirrels this game if we ever flashback Chatter plus Acorn Harvest plus flashback Acorn Harvest. Let's see, does he attack? Would love to draw a 3rd land at some point, because then that would be good. Ethereal Armor, that's pretty terrible. Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good reason to not use the Sundering Growth, because you really kind of wanted to save it for an Ethereal Armor, because that card is pretty good on this board. No attacks. I guess he's worried about what happened last time. He doesn't want to let the game get away from him again. Hooray! Alright, we will not attack into this. I mean, we could. We would lose a couple of saplings, but I don't know. Doesn't seem worth it. Definitely the fact that we are gaining life here is pretty great. But one more land and we can start thinking about the decree. Multani's decree. I mean, this matchup is sort of what you bring that in for, right? It's to make their hexproof deck look silly. Because the enchantments are not hexproof. Startup disk is full. Okay, that's fine. Ooh, my computer's freaking out a little bit. Where's my mouse? Here it is. Alright, he attacks. Let's see if we can get my computer back under control. We're not going to block. No blocks. Does he have anything? No, Sundering Growth. Alright, that's a great draw. We can now... I think I'm comfortable starting to get in there. I mean, yeah, we'll lose a token this turn, but that's not the end of the world. And we'll get to kill the Ethereal Armor, which is kind of a big deal. Got 3 mana up. He's probably pretty scared of... Maybe he just knows we're getting in there. I mean, yeah, that's fine. And could do it during his turn. Yeah, that's probably better. I mean, he could play surprise us with a whatchamacallit, with a Armadillo Cloak, and then we'll feel silly for everything he's doing as Ethereal Armor. Oh, now I feel... Oh, I was going to say I feel silly for having not left a guy back to block it, but I realize I can make a new guy to block it because Sundering Growth populates, which is pretty good here. Sundering Growth, your Ethereal Armor. Now we can populate a sapling. Gain life. And I'm pretty happy to block to trade for the guy, unless he's got a pump spell, in which case I'm happy to trade a sapling for a pump spell. We'll be able to move the Rancor over to the guy, which is fine. Again, kind of scary. Play a Forest. Okay, we could play Multani's Decree. I don't know if there's a huge reason to, just because Rancor comes back into his hand, and this other one isn't really scary. But I do think I attack. How many attackers do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,